So, one of the things that I hear all the time is I know what I should be doing, but for some reason I can't do it. And I have to say that is definitely with me still today. I can do what I think is right for my body for a little while, and then all of a sudden it's like I need all the little things. Like I just went and ate some almond butter. Why? Why would I just go eat some almond butter? I wasn't even hungry or anything. Like what makes us do those things? We know that we need to eat more vegetables. We know that we need to drink more water. And I have this drinking game. Every time I hear water, I need to drink. We know we need to eat less processed foods and more foods that look like what we buy in farmers market or in the produce section, right? And so why does eating healthy have to be so hard? But maybe we need to look at things a little bit differently. So I thought I was making all the right choices for years. You've probably heard my story where I had my master's in health science. I had taught health. I had been doing continuing education classes for 10 years when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. And I was like, how is this possible? I'm doing all the things. I was exercising in the morning before the kids got up. I was eating all the healthy food at the time was a food guide pyramid, but I was following the food guide pyramid and doing all the things, right? And then when I started digging into the science and seeing what was most harmful for me, the biggest struggle was dairy. If you had met us a while back, you would think that it'd be easy for us to go plant-based. I was a huge meat eater. My husband was King Cheese. That was his nickname, King Cheese. He ate so much cheese. But we'd go out to eat and he would order salads or pasta, and I would order barbecue, ribs, steak. I was definitely a huge meater. Growing up, we would have hot dogs and hamburgers. You didn't choose one, you ate both, right? And so I thought meat was going to be the hardest thing for me to give up when I went whole food plant-based. And why did I go whole food plant-based? Because of what I read in the science, especially around inflammation and autoimmune disease, and in looking at my genetics, because I think that's very important to look at genetics, not because we are doomed based on our genetics, but what is right for me. For me, it was definitely no red meats, no dairy fats, things like that. Strong family ties to Alzheimer's and to heart disease, and high inflammation with the history of autoimmune disease and cancer in my family. So whole food, plant-based is definitely the right thing for me. And so I thought that meat was going to be the biggest struggle, but it ended up being dairy and the dairy fats. When I looked at our meals, we were eating cheese toast for breakfast, or you may have heard me say peanut butter toast with banana. That was another huge one. But cheese appeared throughout the day. If we had toast that usually had cheese on it, if we had spaghetti, we could put Parmesan on it and maybe had cheese toast or a garlic cheese toast or something next to it. Tacos had to have cheese, pizza had cheese. Gotti Mexican, how do you not have the cheese, right? And then the biggest one for me was chocolate milk. I drink chocolate milk morning, noon, and night. I trace it all the way back to camp because I didn't like milk until I went to camp for a few weeks, and we weren't allowed to leave the dinner table till we drank all of our milk. And so ever since then, I was just so hooked on milk. And it was mostly chocolate milk. I drank chocolate milk morning, noon, and night for about 40 years. And so giving that up was probably the hardest thing. Yes, you can get chocolate, plant-based milks, but I don't know. It was different, right? But so what's my point? So we have a lot of nutrition available today, science, that we didn't know about before. And we're overloaded by what we hear. We have influencers telling us things, we have scientists telling us things, we have celebrities telling us things, and then we have these celebrity politicians telling us even more. We have podcasts, books, documentaries, social media posts, YouTube's blogs, all those things, and we're all so confused, myself included. Every now and then I'm like, wait, I have to second guess everything I thought I already knew. This expert's saying we need to eat more protein. As a matter of fact, the RDA went up, right? And so it was the first time in forever it went up. I took classes last weekend at Harvard where they said actually zero point 0.8 is where we need to be grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And then someone else, the same exact conference at Harvard, said that if you are whole food plant-based, we really need to go up to 1.2, not because that's what you need, but most people, when they switch to whole food plant-based, they don't understand that they need to eat things like legumes and things that are a little bit higher in proteins. And so if we do the 1.2, then they're more likely to hit those goals of the 0.8. So I don't want to get in that discussion today, but it leads to more confusion, right? Someone says that we have to have grains every day. There are several doctors, even some plant-based gut doctors, that say we have to have grains every day. Well, at the Harvard conference last weekend, they said grains are not an essential food. That if you're eating legumes, you don't necessarily need to eat grains. And so more confusion. And then one says fruit is the perfect food, and another one says fruit is too high in sugar. So we're all kind of confused there. But we have to look at food another way. So food is more than nutrition. And it's something that I wish that more health professionals knew about, especially our doctors, because here in the state where I am, really, doctors, licensed professionals are the only one that can discuss nutrition, which is kind of scary because they don't really have as much nutrition education as some of these other people that could give out better nutrition information. Anyway, we don't eat food because of nutrients. We don't sit down and say, I'm going to eat this because it has 14 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber. Or maybe you do, but that's not typically how people sit down. We eat foods because we grew up eating them. I grew up eating peanut butter toast for breakfast or cheese toast for breakfast. So then 40 years later, I'm feeding my kids cheese toast and peanut butter toast. Do they eat those today? No. We're all whole food plant-based and gluten free. And so, but the way we grew up is kind of the way we kind of tend to eat until we make a big change or something is a light bulb goes off and we go, hey, this isn't the right thing for me. We go to a family member's house or a friend's house and they serve these foods. It's we go to lunches with people, it's the typical foods or restaurants, we eat the typical foods that are there. We eat foods that we've always eaten. It's just tradition. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, we always have the same kind of foods, right? And they're familiar and they're comforting. And when you're sick or tired or exhausted, you reach for those foods that bring you comfort, those that had memory tied to them. That's what we look for. We're not looking because they have this much fiber, this much protein, and things like that. We look at foods that help us to feel good, that give us instant gratification in some cases, that help us remember things like, oh, my grandma used to make this. And so that's what I want to eat, right? And so we tie our emotions even to it. And so when we change our food, we're not just changing the food, we're changing routines that have been a part of our life for decades. And so no wonder it's hard. Inconvenience wins. If you are tired, you're exhausted, you're stressed out, it's really hard to make the choice to do something that is out of alignment with what you've always done, right? Or I'm stressed out, I'm tired, I'm busy, I'm hangry. I am one of those that just gets really grumpy and hangry if a meal is just taking too long. And so then I'm going to grab things that are available, like me just going in and grabbing the almond butter when I wasn't even hungry, right? It's just something, it's comforting, it's delicious. And so I'm going to just go grab it. So when I spend time in the kitchen teaching people about foods, how to stock their kitchen, how to prep ingredients, what to buy in the grocery store, and how to make it easy to grab foods that are going to better serve your health, your body. We have to talk about, what is going to be best for you, what will be nice and convenient and still comforting and still satisfy those emotional ties behind the food. And so think about your own life. When you're tired, if it's 6 p.m., you've had a very stressful day, what are you most likely to do? Do you want to pull out a complicated recipe and lots of different ingredients, or do you want to grab something quick and easy and just throw it on the table, or something that you know is going to be satisfying and soothing to your body? Right? It's human nature to go the easier route. And so what helped me? So I could not focus on what I had to give up. Giving up dairy, giving up gluten, right? And then later on finding out I had to give up corn too. And I don't know about you, my number one rule is always read the ingredients. But when you pick up those boxes or yogurt containers or whatever, find one that doesn't have corn. It is very difficult to do. And so first we had to look at the individual body. Does everyone need to eliminate corn? No, my whole family eats corn. I'm the only one that doesn't eat corn. And so find what's right for you, but stop looking at the what I can't eat. So maybe maybe I can't eat corn, gluten, and dairy, but I can eat all these other vegetables, and I'm exploring vegetables I never had explored before. Rutabaga, I'd never eaten rutabaga before. collards, bok choy, steamed bok choy, love it, love it. I never knew that, right? When I think back, okay, mugu gapan in a Chinese restaurant was always my favorite, but I didn't know that was bok choy, right? Now I can prepare it at home, but I'm opening up my eyes to all these different beans. I love beans. I had never eaten chickpeas before. Chickpeas, turned into hummus and put into wraps, making a chickpea quote tuna or chicken salad kind of thing, which I'm doing in a class tomorrow in one of my cook along classes. Black eyed peas, butter beans, all these different legumes are high in protein, resistant starches, B vitamins. We hear so much about B vitamins and they make me feel good and they help my inflammation. They have helped my cholesterol be bueno. And so learning about this, exploring new beans, new vegetables, and playing with different herbs to enhance flavors. I love flavorful foods, and playing with herbs has been amazing, something that I had never really played around with before. So my number two rule is eat the rainbow, add colors. When you look at your plate, what can I add to this to enhance the colors? Put more color into this plate. Not only does it make it look like a delicious meal and exciting, if you follow me on Instagram, you see my pictures. People are always like, wow, it looks so amazing. And when you look at it, it's really so simple. I just added some color to it. So it gave it a different texture, gave it some flavor, and then that boost of color it just makes it an amazing meal. And so you don't have to feel deprived. Yeah, no, I'm not eating the loaf of bread, which I used to eat the whole loaf of bread, but I can find other things that are comforting and taste delicious and are exciting and flavorful for me. I had to learn some new recipes. I had to play around in the kitchen, but I've discovered some really amazing things that I never would have done in the kitchen before just by exploring, what is available to me. So stop looking at what you can't have or what you shouldn't have or what's not right for your body and start looking at all the other options that are out there. So read the ingredients and eat the rainbow. Another thing that a lot of people struggle with is they get ready to do all the things that are going to be right for their health. I don't want it to be really rigid. I still want you to be comfortable. I don't want you to feel like you're being, neglecting your needs or emotions or feelings. But a lot of times we get overwhelmed because we're going, hey, I can't do this. I can't do this. Okay, what are the rules? I have to follow these rules. I need to follow these rules. And then all of a sudden, we're giving up sugar, we're giving up gluten, we're giving up dairy, we're starting a new exercise routine, we're having a meal prep so that we can grab something easily when we get home. We need to drink all of this water, drink. And we start off day one, we're right on target. Day two, a couple things slip. Day three, a couple more things slip. Day four, we're exhausted and we're not doing anything that we thought we were going to be doing starting on one because we made too many changes at one time. We need to make it gradual. And we don't like to do things gradual. We like those quick fixes. We want to say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, right away. I'm going to start this new diet. I had the clients so many times, they start a program with me, and then a week later, they're like, well, I haven't lost any weight. Well, guess what? It's only been 1 week, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that for our body to feel comfortable in what we're doing before it starts shedding pounds or skin starts improving. We have to get the basics down first and one thing at a time. We don't like that. We want the quick fix, but we need to start small and realize, hey, like right now it's June. This is being released in July. I think, by the new year, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. And by the new year, I'm going to lose those 10 pounds and my skin's going to look good and I'm going to feel really good in my clothes. My labs are going to show my inflammatory markers are down. So where can I start today to start working towards that goal? Maybe I can add more vegetables to my lunch. I eat pretty much this or that every day for lunch. For me, it's my leftover salad. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that too. Maybe it's going to be, I'm going to try some new bean recipe. Jennifer keeps talking about these black-eyed peas or these butter beans or black beans. Maybe I need to try a new bean recipe this week. I'm going to just go through my pantry and turn over everything and look at the ingredients and see what's in there. What am I actually putting in my body? Maybe I can make some better swaps when I go to the grocery store this week. So starting small, little tweaks each week, little tweaks, little tweaks. So if I change three things, I go through my everything in my pantry, reading those ingredients and deciding what I can swap it with. I try a new bean recipe and add some vegetables to my lunch. That's three things which is actually a lot this week. Then next week I go back and go, okay, I swapped out. I went to the grocery store at the end of the week and I swapped out some things in my groceries, in my pantry. I tried that new bean recipe. It was amazing. I can put that as my routine. And I added vegetables to my lunch. So what can I do this week? Well, this week I'm going to add in exercise. I'm going to start going to the gym and lifting weights. And so that'll be my new thing. And so I'm lifting weights, but I'm still adding in the vegetables. I'm eating healthier foods out of my pantry. And I've added that new bean recipe that I'm going to have again. And so you can see we just slowly, in 6 months later, we're eating vegetables not only at lunch, but more vegetables at dinner. We're having more colors on all of our plates. We're eating several different beans, plant-based proteins throughout the week. We're feeling good and we're strength training 3 times a week in the gym and lifting heavy. And so by 6 months, we've made so many changes. We've lost weight. Our skin looks good. We're lower in inflammation. And yes, it took 6 months, but it's not going to be easy to go back to where we were 6 months ago, right? For 6 weeks, we've been slowly building these habits. And so now they're part of our habits. We don't have to go, oops, I fell off the wagon. I'm eating junk food. I'm not eating any vegetables. No, you're now eating vegetables so regularly. It's just boom, 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 so easy. And so we have to start small. So I went on a little bit of a tangent there. But if healthy eating feels hard for you, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It's just this is the way you've been. So for me, it was 44 years before I switched to whole food plant-based. And so it was 44 years of habits that I had to undo. 44 years of cleaning up inflammation, 44 years of a high saturated fat diet because I was drinking lots of whole dairy and I was eating lots of red meats and pork high in saturated fat on a regular basis, several times a day, bacon with my breakfast, and sausages and all that. And so cleaning out all that saturated fat takes a while, as well as lifting weights instead of just doing yoga and walking. And so it takes a while to undo that damage. It's not going to be a quick fix, but small steps lead to big wins. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone that could learn something from this experience. Like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment. If you don't agree with me, I want to know you do agree with me. Please, 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 please share your ideas. Give people some tips and things that they can do to help their life so much easier. Anyway, I can't find my button. I will see you again next week.